we're gonna start with our DVWA. Over here, you can see DVWA, which is your damn vulnerable web application, and this platform is basically used for penetrate your skills in web application part. And over here, you can see some of the exploits and some levels, because DVWA contains some levels of low, medium, and high, and it's all about the source code. You can see you can set the security level to low, medium, and high, and the security level is completely vulnerable and has no security measures at all. Bad security practices, harder or alternative bad practices, and you can say the level is secure against all vulnerabilities. It is used to compare the vulnerability source code. So this is the impossible level. So they have given one by one all the commands we're gonna try over here, and we're gonna start with the OWASP top 10, the methodology. Big campus. So yesterday we have tried the OWASP top 10 injection part. That was your SQL injection. So today, before starting the class, two books which I told you that we're gonna learn about the web application hacker handbook. This is the Bible of the web application pen testing. If you're doing bug bounty or website testing, this is one of the best book for it. And you can look for the book which is your Hacker 101, which is your Hacker 1 website. You can use this book for penetration testing, and you can see they have given the vulnerabilities over here one by one. Open redirection vulnerability, they have given the descriptions, the link where you can simply learn the cheat sheet. Spotify theme install on open redirect. You can see it's giving you the URL. Which URL was affected over there. You can see a report link, the date and the bounty paid, and the description and how was it completed over here. You can see over here, example.com. So all you need to do is to find the ligament pair of the things. So before starting, let's see application logics. So you should have to understand how the application works in the real life scenarios. So for that case, you can make step by step all the things one by one. So over here, if you're getting started, the first thing you will see is information gathering. So what kind of information that you look for penetration testing of a web application? You can see what's the scope of the program. What is the behavior, you can say. All subdomains of a site of a specific URL. For example, wildcard.twitter.com or just twitter.com. We are using asterisk wildcard. Why? Because through wildcard we can specify the domain name, which is your twitter.com. How many IP addresses does the company own? How many servers is it running? What type of site is it? Software as a services or open source or a collaborate or a paid or free? What technology they are using? This is the important part. Each and every website has a different technology they are used for maintaining their website. For example, they are using Python, Ruby, PHP, Java, MySQL. These are the applications they are used for. And we can see CMS. CMS stands for Content Management System, which is basically used to develop your website or the modifications of the digital evidence. So we can see WordPress are used in the wide varieties, Drupal, Rails. I never heard about the Rails, but I have Django also. There are many other websites that you can use over there. You can see there are some of the considerations that help for the define that you're going to look for how they are going to approach sites. It's all about DNS animation part. One of the best tools, I will say, one of the best tools that you can use is now.py. Now.py is basically used to identify the number of subdomains over there on the server side. You can see in this book, you will have some tools information also for application testing, for digger deeper to identify, and the vulnerability report is a different thing. Confirmation of the vulnerability show respect, and the most important part, how does it look? Noise, priorizations, confirmations, resources, writing the fixes. Writing the fixes, you have to make your own codes for that. Bounties. If you submitted a vulnerability to a company that pays a bounty, respect their decision on the payment amount. According to the job co-founder of HackerOne, how do I become a successful bug bounty hunter? If you disagree as a received amount, have a decision why you believe it. You deserve a higher reward. So they have given a proper one. Co-founder HackerOne, you can say, Jobert Amba. But the most important part that we're going to discuss over here is the tools. So very first priority, you can see that we are going to use Burp Proxy, which is used in wide variety. Code Swagger, we can say. And what is the use of Burp? So we can see that it's basically used for intercepting the proxy, application aware spider to crawling, the content functionality, web scanner to automatic detection of vulnerabilities, repeater to manipulate and resending the individual request, sequencer tool for test the randomization of the tokens, token manipulation API. A comparator tool is to compare the request and the response. Bucky Robert from the New Western has a tutorial series of Burp Suite available on this website. See. Yes, move on. If you want to learn the Burp Suite in more advanced, you can simply go over here, and they have a large varieties of things. Burp Suite for web application security. See, there are lots of websites. See, one by one, all the things can be prepared over here. Robert Buckley. So over here, you can see Zep proxy is also there. Zep proxy is all about crawling or identifying the number of directories and subdirectories, or you can say including a proxy repeater, scanner, directory file, boot forcer. You can see it also supports add-ons if you are a developer. Knock.py. It is a Python tool designed for iterate or a huge word list to identify subdomains or a company. Identify subdomains help to increase the testable surface of a company and increase the chances of finding a successful vulnerabilities. So I will say all the vulnerabilities are not, all the websites are not vulnerable, but the subdomains might be vulnerable because they are under development. Hostel sublister, you can see there are lots of websites you can use. Seclist is one of the best website word list that you can use. Access Hunter is used for finding access vulnerabilities. SQL Map is an automation tool to identify the SQL injections. Nmap, you can see one of the tools which Nmap is also using over there for bug bounting. Shodan, Sensors, what is CMS? CMS is basically a content management system. You can see over here. It's allowing you to enter a site URL and return the likely. Knowing what CMS a site is running gives you insight on how the site code is structured. If the CMS is open source, you can browse the code. They have given one by one all the things over here. Build with is also one of the best tools for identifying the information getting a fingerprinting part. So why I'm showing you this thing, because you can simply do bug bounty with the help of a simple book, and these two books are one of the best ones. This book contains around 900 of pages, but it's one of the best books to understand the core mechanism of the web application part. How does it work in the real life scenarios? So Nikto over here, Recon looks, there are lots of tools that we can see here. Bucket Finder, this is one of the best tools for finding AWS S3 buckets. And you can see, in the Craw Security website, there is a video I released over here for S3 buckets, how we can find S3 buckets in the real life scenarios. Google Docs, you can say. JDGUI is basically using for mobile application to see the source code. The tool can help you for exploring Android apps. Mobile Security Framework, which is your MOB asset, which is your automation part. See, lots of things over there we can use for. Webalizer, one of the best tools. And the resources that you will learn. See, There are lots of platforms that you can go for exploit DB database, which is available for all web application exploit and defense. You can get all the code labs you want. Udacity for learning the courses of a variety of subjects. See this one. Hacker. What are the platforms that we can go for the bug bounty? We can go for the hackerone.com. See, Bugcrowd from the out of the belly. Bugcrowd is always founded in 2012 to be even the odd against the bad guys. Synac is one of the best one. A private platform offering security expertise to client. Partition requires a role, but eternally the application process reports are typically. Video. If you want the video tutorials, you can simply visit this one. There are lots of things given over here. The HackerOne activity, it will show you all the vulnerabilities that has been disclosed till now. OWASP Top 10, the Open Web Application Security Project. There are lots of things that can be used, but the most important part is the bug hunter methodology. Web Application Hacker Handbook, which is this one. Recommended blogs, you can see there are philipfairwood.com. You can see some website, Philip website has been given over there. PHWD, the guy. So there are lots of things that you can use over here. But I will say download this book from the source code and just try your luck in the bug bounty part. So over here today, and the most important part is you should know about all the vulnerabilities over here, which is your CSR injection, cross-site forgery, process scripting, HTML injection, HTTP parameter pollutions. They have given one by one all the things. And some summary that we use over here. So over here today we're gonna start with our bug bounty, not the bug bounty. We're gonna start our DVWA, but this is the book which I was talking about. You can start reading, and I guess Gaurav, it will help you in the most of the times. So over here, some websites. So let's try. About DVWA. So over here, we need burp suite over here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna execute my burp. So burp. So we need to set up this one. So I need to set a certificate also. So we're gonna remove the old one that was yesterday's one, and over here I'm gonna go to the proxy, to the options, and I can see the already has been set the interface, which is your 27001 port 8080 and regenerate CS certificate. Yes. So let's go to the web suite over here. So right 127.0.0.80.80. Why? I'm just going to insert a CS certificate because we're going to capture the HTTPS packet also. And over here, the certificate is installed. And what are going to do? We're going to write presence, reference. We're going to do certificate over here. And the authorities, import certificate, downloads. Yes. The next thing is your network proxy. So let's do network. Manual proxy, which is your 127.0.0.1 port 8080. Cool. So over here, the box has been installed. Let's see. Let's do an interception first. So I'm gonna run Google. and I can see the packet has been captured over here, so it's running properly. I can see the request of https://google.com, port number 4443. So forward, yeah, it's running cool. So today we're gonna start with our interception part, and we're gonna use DVWA. But over here, the very first thing you can see is having a brute force. So brute force attack is one of the common attack, and this comes on your broken authentication part. Broken authentication is an attack where an attacker simply performs some brute force, or you can say a phrases of combinations, which is basically used to bypass the username and password login page because it contains some dictionaries attack. For example, if you look over here on the Google, brute force attack. So you can say in cryptography, a brute force attack consists of an attacker submitting many passwords and phrases with the hope of eventually guessing the correctly. The attacker systematically checks all the possible passwords and phrases until the correct one is founded. What is a brute force attack with example? The most basic brute force attack is a dictionary attack. A dictionary, or you can say a word list, which contains all the phrases and words to simply circulate. So there are lots of other things that can be used one by one. So you can see they have given the proper definition wherever the attacker works through a dictionary as of possible passwords and try them all. The reverse brute force attack uses a common password like password and subsequently tries to brute force a username to go with the password. You can try the common one, which is your admin password, admin password blank. These are the common things for a login part. But if we are doing authentication for a login forum, for example, your username and password, so that time we have to consider the flow of the application. What is a backend application works like. So the most common thing you can see over here, we're gonna try a brute force attack over here, but before that, see the source code. Because it's all about a logic source code to be read. So over here I can see if assets get login, username and get password, which is it's just showing MD5, and it's gonna check for the database where user is equal to user and the password is equal to pass. And you can see they have given it user details like your MySQL fetch, associate, raw avatar. If the user has been logged in, so it will show you welcome to the password protected area, or if it failed, so you will see a username and password is incorrect. So over here they didn't have give any time limit that how many times a person can input his credentials over there. For example, if I'm using any of the Facebook, or let's take an example of Facebook. If I'm simply inputting 3 or 4 times an incorrect password and username, the Facebook will block me for a period of time. It will block me for 1 hour or 10 minutes. It depends on the policies. But some of the applications, if they are not blocking the client request, or they are simply performing a continuously attack on the application, so there will be a proper attack over there. An attacker can gain sensitive information. For example, you can see over here, a broken authentication occurs, the application mismanaged session-related information such that the user identity get compromised. The information can be form of session cookies, password secret keys, etc. The aim here is to either to get someone else's session or use a session which has ended by the user to steal sensitive related information. For example, I think you have guys tried this one. Press the back button after logout to see if you can get to the previous session or not. Many cases, there was a time that Facebook, after login, we can simply jump to the previous page. Try to hit the URL directly after logging out if you can able to access the page. Just copy the URL of the authenticated page, then log out, and then try to copy that URL again to check whether we can get the session or not. Check the presence of the session related information in the URL, session tokens, session cookies over here. Try to check if you can able to write someone else's session by changing some of the last few digits. Try finding some in the credentials in the source code. Right click on the page and view source. Sometimes hard coded the credentials and easy access. which sometimes mean ununified. But the most important part, you can see, we are not the attacker, we are the security analyst. So over here, we need the countermeasures also. Use multi-factor authentication, session isolations, idle session timeout, use secured cookies. So these scenarios are important for the attacking part. But over here, we're going to try to check a brute force attack. So over here, what I'm going to try, I'm going to use my burp suite, and I have a dictionary, which is over here. So I'm going to put some word over here. Like, let's replace this one. Let's put it over here. So the word should be over there. Let's try master over there. So I have taken only 10 words. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to check one by one. So let's check over here. So we're going to perform a proper brute force attack. So let's try with the default one. Let's try with admin. Your username and password is incorrect. It is administrator. Let's try 1, 2, 3, 4. So from here, we're going to guess the username. So over here, it's not allowing us to get enter. So the default is admin and password. You can see the password for admin. So our main concern is to get the server-side request. So what I'm going to do, we're going to use the interception. We're going to hold the packet through the burp suite. So I'm going to input. I'm going to input some of the queries. For example, 1 and 2. So the interception is on. So we're going to hold the packet over here. So over here, we're going to go to the website and log in. So over here, you can see the packet has been transmitting in a proper way, and over here, you can see the packet is over here. The get parameter, the URL sector, the data which is flowing on the URL sector. So over here, you can see your vulnerabilities, brute force, username 1 and password 2. So this was a login form. So what I'm going to do, we're going to perform a brute force attack, and in the burp suite, there is a parameter, there is a function or a tab which is called intruder. So over here, I'm going to redirect this request to intruder because we're going to perform a brute force attack on the server side. So I'm going to drop the packet because I'm not going to forward this packet to the server side. And over here, you can see the request was dropped by the user. But over here in the intruder, you can see the packet has been captured and the IP address plus the port which we are using. So the most important part is the positions. Why? In the positions, we're going to have to specify the parameter value where we have to perform a brute force attack. So over here, as per the logical, we have username and password. So I'm going to do a username and password parameter attack. So, but over here, there are lots of parameters also. There are around 5 parameters. A username, password, a login, a security, and a PSSID, which is your session ID. So first of all, we're going to clear the tags. Yes, we have cleared all the tags. So I'm going to try the attack on the first parameter. So I'm going to attack on the username. So we're going to find the username first. Then we're going to move to the password. So I'm going to use a method called sniper. Sniper are basically used in a single parameter attack. So we're going to use sniper on a single parameter, and let's select the payload. In the payload set, we're going to use simple payload because we're going to contain some word list. And over here, I'm going to load a word list, which is my burp. You can see admin, security, sec, infosec, warriors. There contains all the words over here. In the option tag, you can simply use it for your faster execution. But over here, request engine, you can see one by one. The number of threads is 5, and the number of retries of network failure is 3. So you can simply set your own part. So over here, we can use our own fetch errors. So in this case, let's start the attack. So you can see all the parameter values has been showing 4715. There is nothing different. All the parameters are 200, which is executed over there, and the length of the packet is 4715. If you see the response code, it's showing nothing, just a DVWA page. Username and password is incorrect. In this scenario, think about the logical. In this scenario, it will allow to check the first parameter with the second parameter value. But over here, we are basically attacking on the single parameter value. So that's not simply considering the second one to make a true statement. For this part, what we're gonna do, we're gonna add this password payload also in a tag. Wait. Add tag. Yes. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna use the cluster bomb because we're gonna make a permutation and combination with the two parameter values. So over here, already the payload 1 has been set. We're gonna set the payload 2 on the same dictionary. On the cluster bomb, you have to use the same dictionary over here for performing a brute force attack. So 10 into 10 is 100 now. You can see it on the screen. And in the options, there is nothing need to be considered over here. So let's start the attack. And over here, you can see the brute force has been completed. And over here, you can see the same result. The maximum length is the packet size over here. And the status over here is 200, which stands for the code has been executed in the proper way. So what we can do, we can simply check with the maximum length. You can see over here. So over here, you can compare admin first of all. See, in the response code, you will have to examine vulnerability brute force, the username and password was incorrect. And see the first one, the response code. Welcome to password protected area admin. So we have a proper login to that website. And how I examine this one? Because the maximum length of the packet. The length of the packet contains the data type. And you can see 4715 also contains the data type, but the execution type will have a bit more on that. So this process is also known as broken authentication, and it is also known as brute force attack on the web application type. In that scenario, we have to provide a proper dictionary. You have to maintain a dictionary of words list that can be used for attacking phase on the server. Is it okay, Gaurav and Ravi?
यस सर, ये तो ठीक है सर। वो जो आपने ऐड वाला पोर्शन था ना, वो वाला थोड़ा कम समझ में आया। वो आप जब क्लियर और ऐड कर रहे थे।
Clear and add. Which one? This one.
हाँ जी सर, यहाँ पे ये क्या कर रहे थे आप, ये समझ में
Is
आया।
basically you can see over here the parameter values. I'm going to attack on the parameter values, which was username and password. जिसमें अगर आप देखो यहाँ पे पांच पैरामीटर वैल्यूज थी, बट हमें अगर यहाँ पे देखो एप्लीकेशन में यहाँ पे यूजर नेम एंड पासवर्ड दे रखा है आपका, तो मुझे इस पैरामीटर वैल्यू में मुझे अपनी वैल्यूज डालनी है ना। तो यहाँ पे जो मैं ऐड कर रहा था और ऐड और क्लियर, यहाँ पे टैग्स की बात कर रहा था, जिसमें मुझे इनको हाईलाइट करना है कि जिसमें मुझे ब्रूट फोर्स परफॉर्म करनी है। आई हैव टू परफॉर्म अ प्रॉपर ब्रूट फोर्स अटैक इन अ स्पेसिफिक पैरामीटर वैल्यू।
ठीक है सर, ठीक है। तो जिस पे अटैक करेंगे उस वाली पैरामीटर पे हम ये लगा देंगे, डॉलर साइन लगा देंगे पहले और बाद में।
यस, एंड
ठीक है सर।
यू हैव टू सेलेक्ट द वैल्यू आल्सो। यस गौरव?
Yeah, all right.
All right. You have done the brute force included, na? I guess. Yeah. So there are many other attacks that can be performed over here. For example, you can see this is a proper method of your brute force attack on the web application part. But you can simply increase the level of security. In the level of security contains all the data. For example, they have given the parameter, so clear tag, we're going to specify the parameter, union parameter, and a password parameter. Let's use cluster bomb again. The same dictionary I'm going to use. In the options, attack phase. So now you can see the payload sending request has been stopped. Why? Because it's going to check one by one all the parameter values and going to cross verify. Because there is a time limit now. See, but still the attack will be completed, but it's gonna take some time because there is no blocking the request from the client side. This attack is gonna take some time because if you see the source code, you will find something. So in the back end, the brute force is running. That's why it's gonna slow over here. But the attack will be completed properly. It contains all the request parameters. One by one, all the things gonna complete. So this is a testing one, so I guess it's gonna crash many times. And over here, you can see on the server side, it's running a brute force attack. Okay, 84 packets have been sent. You can see one by one, all the packets gonna be transferred. So over here, you can see the mail has been completed, and over here you can see they find some parameter values. They have find super info also, and the admin password. So now there is a proper way. So it's all depends on the parameter values over here, one by one. And the most important part is the source code to understand. Now over here, it's gonna check, sanitize the username input one by one. So it's gonna take one by one all the parameter values and it's gonna check for the database server. So the most important part you can see over here is the source code. So same as per the data, there's an attack called command injection also. Command injection is also a part of your injection part of your OWASP top 10. So if you see over here in the first step, you can see injection attack occurs when the user is able to input untrusted data and tricking the application system. You can see it's basically a bounds of the application and system to execute initiate commands. Injection can be SQL queries, PHP queries, LDAP queries, and OS commands. So OS command injection is a type of injection where we can execute arbitrary commands on the web server side. If you look, OS command injection OS command is an attack in which the goal is to execute or arbitrary commands on the host operating system by vulnerable applications. Command injection attacks are possible when unable to access the unsafe user supplied data from cookies, HTTP headers, and etc. This is also be done with your parameter values of your request. For example, over here, let's see the low one. So we have a proper PHP code on the server side. So over here, you can see there's a PHP code which is running a post method, and which is submitting an IP address over there on the server, and it determines the OS execute the ping command. So it's on PHP Windows NT, and they have given a ping command to execute shell execution. Shell execution is all about your terminal executions, or you can say it's for Windows and Linux. If it's a Linux, send four packets on the server side, and the feedback on the user is end. So over here, this command execution over here is saying enter the IP address of any of the locals. So let's see one. I'm gonna run my localhost IP address. And over here, you can see that is a Linux operating system and it's showing us TDL64. But for example, how the OS command injection works. For example, consider in my own terminal, just I'm doing a ping command, -C, and I'm gonna put 2 packets to be sent on the localhost IP address. And I'm going to add a semicolon. Why am I adding a semicolon? Because through semicolon, I'm going to add some more queries. After the ping command, just go to the etc password, then move to the iwconfig also. So I'm going to executing the 3 commands in a single statement. So let's enter the first packet, the second packet. Okay, sorry, it was password. So you can see the etc password is also run on a single parameter. But what attacker tries to manipulate or enumerate, attacker tries to enumerate all the services on the server side. For example, it tries etc password to be run, check. So what attacker can try? They can try to check what other services are running on the server side. So over here, if I'm sending a request, I'm gonna add a semicolon over here to check is there any OS command injection available or not. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna look for the services which is running over there. So I'm gonna use netstat ANTUP just like this. Let's start to run. And over here on the backend side, I can see the ping command. With the ping command, there's a netstat is also running over there. So you can see what are the applications are running over here. The domain name is running, the port 22 is running, the 445 is running, is a Samba. MySQL is also running over there, 139, and all other services. Through the netstat, we can check all the applications and running over there. So through OS command injection, there is many ways. There are many ways an attacker simply extract the information from the server side. It depends on the behavior, on the functionality of the applications. So over here, you can see if I'm running 1270.1, an attacker tried to check what other users are there. PTC passwords. So it's all showing all the usernames or the servers are on the server side. So that's why you can see all the things, all the users over there one by one on the server side. And there are many other things that can be used. So attacker tried to manipulate lots of other things. For example, a reversion. If I'm running OS command, I can simply look for which applications are available over there. See, yes, the Perl is over there. Why I checked for Perl? Why Perl is over there? So in the Perl command, we can go for the pentest monkey, and we can look for that. Pentest monkey reversion. This is a cheat sheet that we can use it for many ways. So you can see there are lots of other cheat sheets that can be used. For example, bash, Perl. This is a Perl command which is used for getting a reversion on the server side. And you can use it in many other ways. Python command. If an attacker finds OS command injection on the server side, it's try to get a proper shell command. And so if you look for the level of this severity, now compare this one. Okay, now I guess the source code has getting a problem here. Now there is a problem with source code. So command execution attacks. If you see command execution, OS command injection attack hacker1 report, you will see lots of reports over there. See, May 28, 2020 OS command injection on JSON. And I was talking about the hacker one, which is your activity to check all the vulnerabilities over here. This was on September 13 or 19, 2019. They have created their own Python script. Import the requests, target, CMD. They have given a proper JSON repository. They have given and request post. So there are many ways you can try this one. They have given the May 2020 this year's, and they have given a proper way where you find all the things. Modules. Download the latest week, and they have given all the things one by one. Child process execution. If you are a good coder, you can make your own programs over there on the server side. And they have given step to reproduce. Install the JSON command line tool by and install JSON.g. Passing templates. CD JSON, you should go over there. Payload node csharp.js, which is echo repeat font. Check if the attack was successful or not. Let's execute lsfnl. So, and they the patch also. Sanitize the input by using execution file. This method signifies all the things you have to give a proper way, and you can see a proper page also of how they simple do it. They simply implement a simple command line file. So the most important part, the activity, you can see the activity over here. Why I'm here, activity of the hacker one to check all the recently updated vulnerabilities over there on the server side. So 5 days ago, cross stored access in collaboration in username, blind SQL injection, account takeover that doesn't have a Spotify ID more. Oh, it's a huge amount. So you will see all the things. Explanation in at flit, $10,000. 17 days ago. 1 day ago it was stored accesses. You can see the popular ones or the new ones. $150, $1,000 bug bounty. You can see. This is a bug bounty platform that you can simply go for hunting those things. These are bug bounty programs you can see. Try to open this one. You can read about their descriptions, or you can submit the report if you got some bugs over there. Report is resolved, assets and scope. See, if you find low, you will get 500, medium, you will 1,000, high 5,000, and critical, you will get $15,000. And they have given what kind of vulnerabilities if you look for. Remote code execution, RC server side. Remote code execution in mobile applications part, you will get $3,000. SQL injection, if you find SQL injection, you will get $10,000. And if you look for LFI and RFI, you will get $5,000. If they have specified all the one open redirect vulnerability. These are the things can be happen over there. And over here, they you can simply check for this. Each and every one has their own scope. The domains, you can take the domains over here. The subdomains. These are the subdomains over there. See, in scope, you can take any of the subdomains that you want for checking, and you can penetrate those things to finding the loopholes. Android application store, they have an application store over here. iOS, all the things are given in the HackerOne platform. Same thing which is given over here also for your learning part. So the most common thing that you see that over here there are lots of other things can be performed. For example, the most common thing is your CSFR, one of the common vulnerabilities over there. And this attack is basically based on the request parameter of the client. So let's see our HackerOne 101 book. And over here, we're going to look for the CSSRF attack. So cross-site request for Jesus. See this one. Cross-site request forgery, which is the most common attack in the web application part, and most of the bug hunters, they look for this vulnerability on the applications to simply understand the core mechanism between the client and the server. So over here you can see a cross-site request forgery, or it's a CSRF attack occurs when a malicious website or email instead of the message applications causes a user browser to perform some kind of actions on another website, and that our user is already authenticated or logged in. So this application works on the authenticated users only. This occurred without the knowing the action has occurred. This impact of CSRF attack depends on the website which is receiving the actions. And most of the, for example, let's take an example. For example, you are logging to an application with your credential, username and password. So in the server side, they will provide you a session token, a valid session token that it is associated with the Craw Security. But sometimes the server is not validating the CSRF token. Without the CSRF token, the attacker simply change that token with someone else's credentials and fill the details and send and customize the request and forward to the victim side. For example, you can see they have given a proper example of how does it looks like. They have given Bob and Alice over here. Bob logs into the bank account, performs some banking, but does not log out. He's authenticated on the application side. Bob check his email and click our link, which is unfamiliar website. The unfamiliar website make a request to the Bob banking website to transfer money, passing in a cookie information stored on the Bob account on the session first. Bob banking website received the request from the unfamiliar malicious website without using a CSRF token, which is processed for transformation part. CSRF token is an important part when you are simply using for authentication and the server side is not validating the token. It could be a huge impact. A user can change his data according to his own data and customize a custom packet. So he can forward that packet to someone else and it will execute from his side because he's validating authenticated. So if you look for CSRF token over here, CSRF token. A CSS token is a random, hard to guessing string. Once a page with a form you want to protect, a server would generate a random string. The CSS token is a form of hidden field and also remember for somehow, whether storing it in sessions or by setting a cookie containing the value. And you can see cross-site request forgery is also known as one-click attack or a session riding and observed of SSRF or XSRF. It is a type of malicious exploit of website where unauthorized commands are submitted from a user that the web application is trusted. So we can try to execute a command from behalf of the victim side. So we're gonna make a custom report, a custom forum, and we're gonna send that request to the server side. And the most of the cases, server are not validating the CSRF token. In that case, an attacker can be simply changed. For example, we're gonna change some values over here. Change your admin password. So attacker is also customizing this packet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write a new one, just like your toad and toad. But before that, intercept the packet and change. So in the burp suite, you will see the new password has been stored over there and the toad and toad. So what I'm going to do, Right click over there, you can see there is engagement tool. Engagement tools are basically used for generating POCs of CSRF. So you can see find reference, discover content, schedule tasks, or generate CSR POCs. So we're gonna click over here, and over here you can see a proper request and the HTML form, CSRF HTML, which contains the value, which is your TOR and TOR. So what you can do, you can simply transfer this medium into a request or a URL. For example, you can see the parameters, values, the headers they have used, the hexadecimal values. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the option and I'm going to include an auto submit script, an auto submit button. You can say regenerate, and over here you can see on that document.forum submit. So when the server will click on this specific URL, it will execute it automatically. So you can simply do what you can do. You can simply copy the text. Over here, I'm going to open a new tab, which is my HTML forum tab, and I'm going to save this tab on the desktop, and I'm going to name this one csrf.html. See, this is a proper request has been completed. So let's remove this one. Let's stop the interception. But the password has been changed because I didn't drop the packet. So let's reset this one for a period of time. Okay, source code is not running. So this was a proper attack. So when a victim click on the specific HTML forum, for example, there was an automated page that you can see the password has been changed because the application was running over there. See, it was automated script running over there. So this attack sometimes works in many cases, but it should be worked on the authenticated user. But this vulnerability is also found in many of the websites in the real life scenarios. For example, if you look for the vulnerabilities like your CSRF attack, CSRF attack, hacker1, let's see July 12, and okay, there's a 19 also. Yes. $5,000 login CSRF vulnerability. J kicks. Hi, it's not, there's a group of that. CSR token bypass on the hacker1 on login bypass. So its report describe hacker1 login CSR token bypass exploiting process. Hacker1 uses the authenticity token during login to prevent CSRF. However, the authenticity token is not properly verified, so attacker can log in by CSR without the authenticity token. So over here, he simply removed the authenticity token from the hacker1 website. In other words, hacker1 thinks it's implemented a CSR token through the authenticity token, but it's not. You can see step by produce over there. Go to the hacker1 user.com in. While logging into your account, grab packet through the buff suite. Take the HTML code from format and the buff suite engagement tool, generate POC, delete the authentication token. So they have deleted the authentication token from that set only. Forward the request of the CSR expert and modified the data, changed successfully. The hacker1 is also not secured. The biggest platform. They have given the same preference. See over here. Add payment method. They are simply going for that. There's a picture is going here. Sometimes if you get the video links, they would be also helpful. You can see the old code and the new code. So there is various way. There's a lots of conservation that we can talk over here. Lots of things one by one. You can simply report, and you have to simply describe them the valid attack. So CSRF attack is most common. You can see $280 in 2019 October 3. We sent it's on a simple HTML forum because the content type was application son chest at UTF. So they have simply saying download the CSR login.html frame, edit the username and password, open it in the browser. With the development tool, it's the browser open with the network editor response. POC generated. They have given a proper method. See. And I guess this they are using with the developer code. If you find any of the attacks access causing the download the files, or you can see the POCs, there are various ways to attack. Craw Security 4G 2019-22. It's all about playing with HTML codes on the server side, which contains the request code. So there are various steps that we can perform one by one. Same is your file inclusion vulnerability. File inclusion vulnerability is the most common vulnerability to extract the exact file path or to retrieve the sensitive information. For example, let me show you what is exactly the file path in LFI means. You can write LFI offensive security. Or you can go for LFI port swigger. So file inclusion vulnerabilities, which is your remote file inclusions, and LFI, which is your local file inclusion.